Morihei Ueshiba sensei, who lived from 1883 to 1969, synthesized various Japanese martial systems into a new art which he called Aikido. In some ways, the art that he founded was very traditional. Uniform and etiquette, for example, were rooted in the samurai tradition. But in other ways, Aikido was revolutionary. While many martial arts teach techniques for fighting opponents or defeating enemies, O-sensei hoped that his art, Aikido, would help us to become more peaceful, more cooperative human beings. For about 20 years, Mitsugi Saotome sensei studied under Aikido's founder, serving for many of those years as an instructor at Aikido World Headquarters in Tokyo. On this historical footage, Saotome sensei appears as O-sensei's uke, or partner. For many years, Saotome sensei has lived and taught in the United States, systematizing and interpreting the lessons of his teacher, Aikido's founder, for a new generation of students.
Takemusaiki is the studying is martial situation. You're learning situation, not the technique. What kind of happening? What kind of result? So very much in the foggy situation, not just the structures. So, for example, is a go attack, and he's punch, and the block, and the go. This is a more progress. The basic Kihon waza, and Takemusaiki, Oyo Henka, the Kumite Keiko, and different ways in the coming progress. So, the Aikido, the unique point. The unique point, what point is using combat situation, using aggressive relationship, and myself or partner, training partner, discovered harmonious is conscious. Not only impact the conflict, using the conflict battle, but always application use harmonious way into solution. Also, many Aikidokas not thinking why people grabbing, The strike technique is easy to understand, but the most people don't understand why people grabbing katate dori. For example, so grabbing, why they go? This is not waiting partner technique. This is the beginning, yes, starting each piece technique. But Takemusa Aiki, the oil henka, is different. Not starting in each piece technique. This is Kihon Waza training. But Takemusa Aiki, or Kumite Keiko, or oil henka, is you starting a situation, martial arts, martial ways situation. So reason is his attack and I am defense in the ground, the katate. And he cannot escape, and I can attack or kicking, any kind of this.
Aikido practice for beginners often focuses on defenses against simple wrist grabs. While such attacks may be artificial and unrealistic, they play an important role in Aikido's training system. Eventually, of course, students move to more sophisticated simulations of combat, such as the Takimusu practice that Saotome Sensei demonstrates here. In this practice, Saotome Sensei initiates the interaction with a striking motion. His uke grabs to defend against this strike, and to create an opening for his or her own offense. Since uke continues with a kick or punch after grabbing Sensei's arm, Saotome Sensei enters what he calls a foggy situation. In contrast to the pattern practice of technical forms, Takimusu practice develops spontaneously. In consequence, the participants in Takimusu practice cannot narrow their attention to any one aspect of what is happening, but must read and control the entire martial situation. In practice of this sort, basic forms such as kotoge-eishi or kokyunage function as small parts of longer, more complex interactions. Here, Saotome Sensei initiates the interaction by trying to grab his uke's shoulders. Uke defends by grabbing both of Sensei's wrists, and he then tries to kick. In this practice, uke grabs Sensei by the shoulders and follows with a kick.
Oyo henka. Henka means the application, the changing application. You must be the harmonious move. So this is oyo. Oyo means always not basic. Oyo means always different innovation to using. So not typical standard technique. So more free, it looks like a free application. This is a Oyo Henka waza. This is all. So Takemusa Aiki is so many different variations, also so many different level. So, but basically, always using the partner feedback. This is the important part. So, for example, so ikkyo, always go resisting. So this is stuck with your situation. It's coming hit bone easy. So in the move, it go high. So this is a basic training principle. Every technique, the basic technique, always someone tried resisting your technique. But this is not insult to you. This is a more biological level. The human instinct. Something try to stress, this is subconscious level to try to resisting. So you feel the death and use his resisting energies. Not just resisting each other, not for others. No, I use his partner's resisting energy. So looks like the same basic technique. For example, the shomen jikyo, you try this, or your partner tries resisting, so I use the partner the resisting energy. So this is the most basic training. But sometimes we go walk and move. So always spontaneous changing. This is oyo henka, a part of Takemusa Aiki.
Often, in daily practice, Aikido students train in Kihon Waza, basic technical forms. In practice of this sort, partners generally cooperate, making it possible to study the forms and to familiarize themselves with the movements. But sometimes, of course, people resist. As Saotome Sensei notes, the resistance may originate instinctively on a biological level. As a technique develops, uke may feel what is happening and unintentionally stiffen or push back into nage. If nage tries to force his or her way through such resistance, there can be no peaceful, harmonious resolution. What began as practice of martial art will end in a clinch, a struggle, or a contest of strength. Then what should nages do when they feel resistance? From the outset, students of Aikido are taught to use their uke's attacking energy to pin or throw. Then why not use their resisting energy in the same way? Doing this may require abandoning the techniques that they began and moving in new directions, but it will preserve the harmonious relation between partners. When the plan is that ukes will resist and nages will need to make an adjustment of this sort, practice moves from drill and basic technique to a higher level, which Saotome Sensei calls oyo henka, a form of takemusu aiki practice. In these demonstrations, Saotome Sensei exaggerates the moment of resistance, magnifying the process of adaptation. But even when the practice moves to more spontaneous adaptation, the resistance is planned. Both partners know that as nage attempts to complete a technique, uke will try to thwart it. In what Saotome sensei calls kumite keiko, uke attempts to thwart Nage's technique through reversal. In the practice demonstrated here, oyo henka, the resistance is aggressive. Uke pushes back or braces, resisting Nage's movement. Because Oyo Henka practice is freer than Kihon Waza training, and because it involves resistance, it may seem that it is competitive sparring, but it isn't. As in basic Aikido training, the practice may be limited to certain categories of technique. Nage may try Yokomanuchi Ikkyo, for example, and then change direction when uke resists. Also, ukes do not brace or resist because they want to frustrate Nage's technique, but because that is their assignment, something that they do so that Nages can practice dealing with resistance. What's most important, rather than struggling against their uke's resistance, Nages respect that resistance and try to find a way to put it to positive, cooperative use. The people with whom we practice have different strengths and different weaknesses. So if we limit our study to strict forms, we may find that our techniques don't always work. But whether our partners are weak or strong, they are alive, and they will therefore respond to our movement emotionally as well as physically. Nage's aims in Oyo Henka practice are to notice the response, to move with it, and to use it. As Saotome Sensei explains, when Nage begins a technique, there's a feedback process, an echo that we can catch and direct. For images of catching resisting energy, Saotome Sensei looks to nature. When rain hits a leaf, it flexes and responds. When a streamer catches the wind, it moves. When water in a creek meets resistance, it changes its direction. According to Saotome Sensei, what makes Aikido unique among martial arts is that it teaches us to adapt to resistance in this harmonious way. Even in Oyo Henka practice, which assumes resistance, Nage adjusts energy and direction to circumstances, tending toward a peaceful resolution.
People misunderstand that martial arts is always compete with each other, compete with each other, compete with each other. So no, I think this kind of conflict situation, how to resolutionally, the positive answer. This is one thing, it's Aikido spread out the world, the people learned this philosophy, or not as a technique, a kind of spiritual attitude. Now always go bam, bam, bam. It's not a good, smart thing, How do you stop the spear? So any creatures have always the fighting, conflict. The life is a conflict. But only negative solution, or the negative way, only just to destroy the other, make a destruction, all there. So I think Aikido is more important, this different ideas, different thinking, different belief, but respecting, but always unifying to making better things. Also, Oyo Henka waza. So important point is how to use, so organizing the whole neutral space. So what the neutral space? All grabbing people sometimes, yourself killing neutral spaces. So always go, resisting all of this, so you can't walking. But always feel the inside hand, the neutral space, feeling, negative space, right? This is, so my hand is more free. But basically myself, and try to resist all of this, compete. So always stuck with this thing. No, always keep my freedom or neutral space so easy. This is a modern technique and discovered to feel the emotional, how you keep relaxed, the peaceful. This is an important learning point, more than the control other person. There's a control to self. So most of the always how to control other, all time thinking, so always just making here the conflict spot, conflict point, all over there. So you changing idea, this is a very strong communication spot, not a conflict spot. So how do you organize the harmonious energy? So all use, and it go easy to control. So a lot of people misunderstand martial art training is always how to beat the other or control the other. So no. Myself, now how do you make better conditions, better structures, better purpose? Control yourself first. And you can move all the field. Another thing, so try to the shihonage, people always resisting go. Or always go this resisting. So how do you make it technical possibility? So you're resisting, go try this. So you can go. So it changes. And they go. Always go try to some technique. You're pulling all the you cannot. So it changes. There always many different ways. So always go try the this. You can't. But moving always to change. So all here, all moving. So this point is Aikido don't have concrete form or style. The most important, you catch different situation, how to make an answer, the solution. This is very important and the learning point. Not so more free, all the leading, catching what the partner is doing. So feel, and they go, you make a solution. Not the concrete style. This is important Takemasa Aiki training or your Henka. Your Henka, all the spontaneous changing.
In Saotome Sensei's demonstrations, he exaggerates the moment of resistance to show clearly what is happening. The aim in Oya Henka practice, however, is to respond to a partner's resistance instantaneously. To do this, we must remain calm. If we are upset or angry, it will be difficult, if not impossible, to be aware of what is happening. Rough water cannot catch an image, notes Saotome Sensei, but calm water reflects like a mirror. Also, we cannot catch our partner's feedback if we think of ourselves as competing. When dealing with wrist grabs, as Saotome Sensei is here, we should view the grabbed wrist as a point of communication, not as a point of conflict. Since catching a partner's feedback involves calmness, detachment, and self-trust, the practice of Oyo Henka becomes an education of self. O-sensei's philosophy works its way not just into our heads, but into our hands.
Oyo Henka. And Takemuso Aiki is discovered is not just technique skill. Develop the own spiritual attitudes is very important to progress. So we call shugyo, not just tanren, not dan, the training. So always more develop my psychology, emotional behavior, the thinking, so communicating the other. And this is important, the shugyo point. Also, this is always grabbing, go this way. You all struggle and go, you know. This is very difficult. So, no. Feel more due freedom. So on the so this is an important thing. And go easy. Okay? Hey.
Saotome Sensei recognizes several kinds of practice, each with its own aim. One he calls tanren. Derived from a metallurgical term meaning to temper or to forge, tanren refers to the hardening and strengthening that one gains through repetitious drill. Another form of training, keiko, involves studying the history, structure, and function of the various techniques. Oyo Henka practice is neither tanren nor keiko but shugyo. Going beyond mere exercise or technical study, shugyo aims at personal transformation. In particular, in Oyo Henko shugyo, we train ourselves to remain calm and relaxed, to trust our own responses, to remain peaceful and cooperative even when we meet resistance. This is what makes the practice difficult and frustrating, but it is also the source of its distinctive value.
The Koro Osensei talk about agatsu, self-victory, and also masakatsu, right way and when, and also unifying. We are shared, living at the same time, same space, all that. This kind of philosophy is very important, It's now, I think we have this kind of message, this world, not just physical exercise, We are through the training, the shugyo, and develop my spiritual progress, and more on this different stages, and I think more strong too. So the strong means a lot of different ways, but strong is always people looking for enemy, computer enemy. And I'm strong, Real strong people never making the negative enemy, More security to yourself, Always looking for enemy. This kind of mentality is never making you life with happiness. So this is important learn, Aikido. Why Aikido don't have sports kind of conflict? The conflict, yes, we are learning the conflict is self. Basic, fundamental conflict is self. And another point is the katadori, is the movement. For this, so try this, always this, always, no. Always you're free. I always struggling and go, no, I'm free. So this is it's more. So anyway, so always this is not working. So always moving, neutral space, always here, always here. I'm free in the movement. So, you know, that's all easy. Or, so, in the move, block, so, and block, anyway, so move, so you can go change.
Sometimes when our partners grab us, we find that we cannot move, and it seems that our partners have deprived us of our freedom. But there generally are ways that we can move freely. If we can't find those ways, it is because we fight against our partner's resistance, limiting our own freedom. According to Saotome Sensei, when we find that we cannot move, that is not because our partners have become strong, but because we have lost our freedom and wisdom. If we can limit our own freedom, we must, to some extent, hold the keys to our own liberation. Among those keys are the principles of relaxation, self-trust, peacefulness, and non-competition. In Aikido training, the aim is not to defeat an opponent, but to resolve conflict peacefully. If we're to achieve this aim, we must do more than simply subscribe to Aikido's philosophy of non-competition. We must train ourselves so that this philosophy manifests itself in our spontaneous movement. Such training involves what O-sensei called agatsu, victory over self. Who's right? Who's faster? Who is stronger? Sometimes through competition we can discover answers to these questions, establishing clear winners and losers. But what value is victory in such competitions if our aim is to improve ourselves or to make the world a better place?
Why the people are looking for to championship and trophies, and why not to think about your spiritual life and you know what I mean? So it's very exciting. Who is number one? But this is which learning fastest. So who is best lift up a heavy weight, and this is interesting. But other things, who is the real champion in your life? This is I am champion of my life. Where is my gold trophy? Where is the gold, medal? Here. This is my trophy, and this is gold medal. You know how to do that, how to build that. People always looking for outside. The inside empty. Always looking for out. Look for yourself. I'm very proud of myself. God created only one piece of me. Never copied out the Saotome, right? So, right, this is valuable. Everyone the same thing. Everybody have a gold medal, but you're not looking for to yourself, always looking for outside. What is the thing? I think it's not good for this society. It's more unstable and nervous, so more looking for yourself. There's all kind of Mitsugi or purification or shugyo. This is, I think, important part. It's the whole world thing, you know what I mean?